Throughout history, civilizations across the world have preserved the memory of a great deluge, an event so cataclysmic that it reshaped humanity itself. These flood myths, found in the sacred texts and oral traditions of diverse cultures, speak of divine wrath, cosmic cycles, and the renewal of civilization. Among the most well-known accounts are those of the Bible, the Sumerian cuneiform tablets, the ancient Egyptian tablets of Thoth, and legends from indigenous peoples across the globe. The recurrence of these narratives begs the question: was the Great Flood merely a myth, or does it echo a historical truth lost in the annals of time? The biblical account, recorded in the book of Genesis, tells of Noah, a righteous man chosen by God to survive an impending flood that would cleanse the earth of corruption. Commanded to build an ark, Noah gathered his family in pairs of all living creatures, enduring 40 days and nights of torrential rain before the waters receded. According to the text, the flood was a divine response to human wickedness, a means of purging sin and allowing for a new, purified beginning. The story concludes with the ark coming to rest on Mount Ararat and the covenant between God and Noah, symbolized by the appearance of a rainbow. This narrative, rooted in Judeo-Christian traditions, has striking parallels with older Mesopotamian texts, most notably the Epic of Gilgamesh. In this Sumerian epic, Utnapishtim, forewarned by the god Ea, constructs a massive boat to preserve life, mirroring Noah's divine commission. The flood rages for 6 days and nights, wiping out humanity until Utnapishtim's vessel comes to rest on a mountain, and birds are released to determine whether the land is dry. The resemblance between these stories suggests a shared memory, passed down and reshaped by successive cultures. A particularly intriguing addition to flood mythology comes from the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish text that was excluded from the biblical canon but remains influential in mystical traditions. According to Enoch, the flood was not merely an act of divine punishment for human corruption, but a response to the sins of the Watchers, a group of fallen angels who descended to earth and imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity. These celestial beings, according to the text, corrupted mankind by teaching sorcery, warfare, and forbidden sciences. The flood, in this narrative, was not just a means to cleanse human sin, but also an act to erase the unnatural offspring of these angelic beings, known as the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch presents a version of the flood myth where divine forces intervene not just against human wickedness, but to reset the balance between mortal and celestial realms. The ancient Egyptian tablets of Thoth, attributed to the god of wisdom, also contain references to a great flood. These mystical writings, believed to hold esoteric knowledge, mention a time when the earth was cleansed by waters, reshaping civilizations and paving the way for renewal. Some interpretations connect these records to the lost civilization of Atlantis, described by Plato as an advanced society that met its end due to divine retribution, submerged beneath the waves. Across the world, civilizations have preserved their own versions of the flood myth, and despite vast differences in geography and time, many share strikingly similar themes. In nearly all these stories, there is a divine warning, a chosen survivor, the construction of a vessel, the wrath of the flood, and the eventual renewal of humanity. Whether it is Noah in the Bible, Utnapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Deucalion and Pyrrha in Greek mythology, or Manu in Hindu tradition, the archetype of the lone survivor represents the preservation of knowledge, civilization, and divine favor. Hindu mythology offers another variation of the flood narrative through the tale of King Manu. According to Hindu scriptures, Matsya, an avatar of the god Vishnu, appeared to Manu in the form of a small fish and warned him of an impending flood that would wipe out all life. Instructing Manu to build a massive boat, Matsya guided him through the storm, ensuring the survival of humanity, plants, and animals. When the waters receded, Manu performed a great sacrifice, marking the beginning of a new age of mankind. Moral decay often precedes the catastrophe. The gods, displeased with humanity's corruption, seek to wipe the slate clean, reinforcing a universal anxiety about maintaining order and righteousness. The Greek myth of Deucalion and Pyrrha closely mirrors the biblical and Mesopotamian narratives. In this account, Zeus, angered by the wickedness of mankind, decides to flood the earth. Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, is warned and builds a large chest to survive the deluge with his wife, Pyrrha. When the waters subside, they repopulate the earth by throwing stones over their shoulders, which transform into humans. Indigenous cultures in the Americas also share similar flood legends. The Aztecs speak of a great flood that wiped out an earlier age of humanity, after which the gods reshaped the world. In Andean mythology, Viracocha, the creator god of the Incas, sent a flood to destroy a corrupt civilization before repopulating the earth with new people. The Hopi of North America tell of their ancestors escaping a great deluge by climbing into the sky, where they were given refuge until the waters receded. These shared elements, divine intervention, human survival, moral lessons, and renewal, suggest a deeper universal truth embedded in human storytelling. Whether through oral traditions or ancient texts, the flood myth persists as a warning and a promise that destruction is inevitable, but so too is renewal. Beyond their mythological significance, many of these flood narratives may reflect ancient memories of real catastrophic events. Geologists and historians have long explored whether these myths are rooted in reality. One of the most compelling scientific explanations comes from the Black Sea deluge hypothesis, which suggests that around 5,600 BCE, rising Mediterranean waters breached a natural dam, rapidly filling the Black Sea basin. Some scholars propose that this event could be the historical basis for the flood narratives of Mesopotamia and beyond. The end of the last ice age, approximately 10,000 years ago, saw dramatic shifts in global climate, rising sea levels, and catastrophic flooding events that could have inspired flood myths across cultures. As massive ice sheets melted, enormous quantities of water were released into the oceans, inundating coastlines and displacing early human populations. The rapid submersion of land masses may have been remembered by ancient civilizations as divine punishment or a cosmic reset, contributing to the widespread flood narratives found throughout human history. Adding to this mystery are the ruins of Göbekli Tepe, Yonaguni Monument, and structures found beneath the Caribbean Sea. Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest known temple complex, was mysteriously buried over 12,000 years ago, hinting at a forgotten culture that existed before the last great floods. The Yonaguni Monument, an underwater structure off the coast of Japan, suggests that entire settlements may have once stood above sea level before being swallowed by the ocean. Similarly, off the coasts of Cuba and the Bahamas, researchers have uncovered what appear to be ancient stone formations, possibly the remnants of a civilization lost to rising waters. These enigmatic ruins raise the question, could they be the remains of societies erased by the same floods that inspired these ancient myths? Could these great floods have been triggered by something beyond natural causes? Some esoteric texts suggest that ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge of cyclical cataclysms, warning of destruction tied to planetary movements, celestial alignments, or even forgotten technologies. Were these myths attempts to pass down forewarnings across generations? Many cultures also believe in cosmic cycles of creation and destruction. Hinduism speaks of the yugas, vast epochs where civilizations rise and fall in accordance with divine order. The Mayan long count calendar outlines ages of creation followed by destruction, implying that we may be living in a world fated for another great reset. Were these ancient myths simply stories of the past, or do they contain hidden warnings about the future? Regardless of their origin, flood myths continue to captivate the human imagination, serving as a profound metaphor for destruction and renewal. They remind us that civilizations, no matter how mighty, are but fleeting moments in the grand cycle of existence. Perhaps these myths hold more than history. They carry echoes of ancient wisdom, whispering to us across time, urging us to remember, to prepare, and to respect the delicate balance between nature, humanity, and the unseen forces that shape our world. Whether a tale of divine retribution or a prophecy of things to come, the Great Flood remains an enduring symbol of transformation, an echo of an ancient past that continues to shape our collective consciousness. Perhaps the greatest lesson from these flood myths is the importance of balance between humanity and nature, between knowledge and humility, between creation and destruction. The flood stories remind us that civilization is fragile, but also that renewal is always possible. If destruction is inevitable, so too is rebirth. Like the survivors of these ancient deluges, we too must learn, adapt, and strive to exist in harmony with the forces greater than ourselves. The Great Flood, whether real or symbolic, serves as a timeless message: to respect the cycles of the world, to preserve wisdom, and to seek a balance that ensures our survival. And in this balance, we may yet find the key to enduring beyond the tides of time.